Hey guys, what's up? It's BigJackFilms here, and welcome to another commentary. God, I haven't done one of these in a while. Because we're tight on schedule, I figured I'd give something out to you guys for Friday, so here we are to talk about for the next 19 minutes, this episode, which is the Jurassic Park Ride review, which was part of Season 4, I believe, and was part of the second wave of Jurassic Park Legacy reviews in time for Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom to come out. So, we're just going to kind of talk about what went through this particular episode. I know we're going out of order in how we should do these commentaries, but this is the best one I figured I'd put out this week. So, this whole line of waves was just sort of at random. Knowing that the Legacy reviews were going to continue with Fallen Kingdom, I figured, okay, well, I should do a new set of reviews. So, I had to choose exactly what I was going to talk about. So, obviously the games were one, the toys were another, and then the ride seemed like the most perfect choice because I am very fond of that ride. Now, I should point out, because I did not film all my host segments at Universal Studios Hollywood or Florida, this was shot at a park at my old town that I used to live in. Brad was on camera, and that's me in a really shitty John Hammond cosplay that I quickly threw together and had a Santa beard and everything with the beach hat from, like, the dollar store. Now, I did the whole thing with, like, the record scratch, obviously. Now, these dinosaur animatronics, so this was not at Universal, obviously. Canada's Wonderland, which is where I usually go over the summers to my theme park kicks, was actually had a dinosaur park at one point that lasted for a couple years. It's since closed, but it was really cool to see. So these dinosaurs were perfect for the environment, and actually Evan helped me out filming these episodes. So he came with me to Wonderland one day, and we filmed a whole day's worth, and it was really fun. So obviously I didn't not get a chance to review these at the park, so Wonderland worked as a side thing, and sometimes if we're not at Universal or we're shooting at a theme park, we use Wonderland as a frame of reference. I mean, even in the next wave of Jurassic Park Legacy reviews we got coming up, some stuff that we couldn't film at Universal, we use Wonderland or even Center Island as a place for pickup shooting. So a lot of this stuff came from YouTube, obviously, so from the premiere and the Hollywood attraction, and then a lot of stuff from B-rolls for the Universal B-rolls for a lot of their old VHS tapes that they used to sell stuff. That shot of the gate was actually what I filmed in 2010 when I went to Universal Studios Hollywood, and I actually did get to experience the Jurassic Park ride, the original ride before it closed, and now it's Jurassic World. I wish Universal would put out the full B-roll of Richard Attenborough, like, hosting for the ride. That's actually one of my favorite jokes. It's just, oh, nothing bad will happen. Everything goes completely wrong. So those gates, too, there in the Florida park, they only have one now. That one was removed to make way for the Reign of Kong ride. But yeah, like, I much prefer the Florida park over the Hollywood one. I think it's more expansive and it feels like you're in Jurassic Park, where Hollywood just feels so cramped in. A kid with a DS is funny. But I always do love this ride, and I do plan to go back to Universal this year around, I'd say, April or something for pickups on the third wave, so we'll keep an eye on that. I might be there. So again, a lot of this is actually my footage when I went on the ride in 2010, using the same camera we shot for Kong, which has since died since, but it was a good camera for the time. Like, I like the contrast it picks up in these shots. This is also Wonderland. We had to find areas that matched what we were talking about, so that area with the fence made sense for this particular topic. Now, Brad plays Nedry's nephew, Bradley Nedry, which I thought would be a fun little jab that basically his nephew got a job at the park being so lazy, and we actually had to take, what I had to do to actually get the monitor going, I had to make a DVD of, like, ride footage with, like, little scratches and like, static, and then put it on a DVD, play it on my 360, and then play it on the thing, and that had to loop many times. So, Bradley's playing the Sega Game Gear, and I have Jurassic Park on that, which is funny. And then that whole joke, he's Bradley, that was actually a nod to Robot Chicken with, he's Randy, the oblivious pizza delivery guy. I actually like how that shot came out with the animatronic. And then this whole thing with Barney, now Barney's since gone, so this was just a run little joke, but now it's kind of accurate. The explosion, I'm not gonna lie, that is taken from some jerk with a camera who was one of the biggest inspirations for doing this. funny enough, we actually did want to get him to cameo, him and Theme Snark, at the time we made this, but we were talking about it. I reached out to him on Twitter, and unfortunately he didn't really have time to do it. But he was, like, appreciated the fact that we invited him down. Anytime I could do that Zemeckis scale diagram from the Back to the Future ride, I've made that joke twice. I totally love doing that. But back to Brad. So we had like a construction helmet. We stuck a Jurassic Park logo on it. They do look like the raptors from Carnosaur. And yeah, and then the whole Bradley. That's from a show called Sticking Around, which I used to watch all the time as a kid. Yeah, barely those animatronics that Triceratops and T-Rex never worked at Wonderland. I just made a little Shop of Horrors joke right there. But, yeah, a lot of it was filming at Canada's Wonderland for the scenes, and what was really interesting is the day we shot most of it, we got a couple of good shots, but half the time it was raining, so it actually added to the environment of being wet at Jurassic Park, essentially. Now, I just thought, okay, this is my first time really doing some sort of parody cover, which I've since done a lot more now. And this was fun to do, but, like, there's some areas that it doesn't match too well. I always love those spitter animatronics at the end of the original. So, it was really just fun spending the day, half of the day at Wonderland, riding rides, and then the other half filming episodes. So, it was fun to do kind of both simultaneously. That's what I try to do whenever I do filmmaking stuff. I try to make it a mix of both work and fun. So that way everybody has a fun environment. So we film a little bit, and then we take a break, and we go on some rides. We film a little bit, maybe get some lunch, go on some rides. I love utilizing Wonderland, because it used to be a film, like, okay, not a film park, but, like, it used to be, it was a park originally, then it was a film park because Paramount bought it to make to cash in on the Universal craze. And then, eventually, it went back to being just a basic park, but it used to have rides based on Top Gun and Tomb Raider and Italian Jobs, so we had the original Fast and Furious ride. And this is actually true. Spielberg actually planned the ride before the movie was even filmed. He already knew. Everybody already knew. Jurassic Park just ringed billions of dollars. They were smart about that. And I love the concept art is even in the ride. Now, this is also, yeah, I think this is because of the King Kong encounter. That's why Spielberg decided to go for a ride right away. Funny enough, like, we do talk about the King Kong encounter in the upcoming Kong reviews. But, yeah, the little trivia here about how Bob Gurr was the original guy who was supposed to do all the animatronics for Jurassic Park because of King Kong. But then ultimately, they decided to back out. You'll find out more about that in the future Kong reviews on the King's Gauntlet 5-part arc coming up. Also, don't mind me, I'm just having a drink. But I always love the making of Jurassic Park, which is on the DVDs, one of my favorite film documentaries of all time. I love that, so anytime I can pull from that, I definitely will. And yeah, just merged. So Universal knew what they were doing, and they just wanted to make a ride. Like, let's go for it. I love those animatronics. Like, those still look really good. But anyway, so, yeah, actually I remember when I was in Universal Studios Florida, first time going in 98, they had something like that for The Lost World. And you got to see a lot of props and stuff, and that Triceratops was still there on display with the photo op. But yeah, this is what I remember. This footage here was when I went, and it was really cool to see. And that is actually a photo of me coming up with that T-Rex photo op, which is still at the park, but it's in Islands of Adventure, which is really cool. And I remember as a kid, the photo with the T-Rex op, that did scare me. This stuff did scare me. Yes, that is little old me with the terrible teeth. And I loved that Jurassic Park shirt growing up. It was awesome. But I was just too scared to go near that T-Rex. Nowadays, I can go up to it and be like, oh, hi, buddy. But for me, like, that was there was no Jurassic Park attraction the first time I went to Universal Studios, because it was just Universal Studios Florida. Islands of Adventure was going to open the following year, and I didn't go until 2000. So, Universal Florida only had the T-Rex photo op and the Triceratops in the Boneyard. Now, the ride back there is the Italian Job stunt track, which was the original Fast and Furious ride. Again, I was trying to match the closest I could to what Universal would have been if it was in Canada, and really try to get that down. And again, that time we shot, you see my hair's wet because it was raining, and we just had to rush getting those shots. I gotta do more clip jokes. But yeah, I love the Florida version of Jurassic Park. It's just much more alive. The environment's great. Only thing is the animatronics do need a lot of TLC, I think it is, or whatever, WD-40 to get them fucking working again. But I always like Camp Jurassic. That's one of my favorite parts of the Florida. Like, that whole area with, like, the water... Like, the last time I went, they had, like, those water guns on the fence and then the spitters, and you can have to shoot back and forth. And that shit's always fun for me. A lot of this is either my footage or stuff from YouTube, just to kind of fill in the genetic sequence gaps. There you go. Dino DNA. That is actually... The Discovery Center is also my favorite place to eat at Jurassic Park. And they've since updated it. And yeah, these are the actual prop skeletons from the movie where Grant and them are all going upstairs. I love those waterfalls. Those are on the Paramount Mountain at Wonderland, and they sometimes have divers dive down and do some fun stunt show stuff. That has since been abandoned. It is now part of the Velocicoaster, which recently had an incident where the thing was out of commission for a couple of weeks, which is interesting. I think they've since fixed it. Yeah, I know about that abandoned guy who went in there. I wish I went in there and filmed some stuff. That would have been cool. But it was kind of unplanned to do sort of this big storyline in the Jurassic Park universe, to have it where I travel to Jurassic Park or I end up on Isla Sorna, the abandoned island. But this is all going to come to play in the third arc as well, like the third storyline that we have planned coming up soon for the final, supposed final Legacy reviews, because they just announced, yes, Jurassic Park 7 is happening. I actually do like that shot because, first of all, the animatronic move, and second, that's a full-size sauropod, and it looked great. It's just like in the movie. I'll give credit to Wonderland. Like, they got some good animatronics in there. That shot is from me, from my old Jurassic Park video that I did when I went in 2010. And yeah, it's still there, and actually this angle right about coming up here apparently just inspired a lot of ripoffs. You noticed that, and I was the one to point that out. A lot of people are like, oh, I never knew that. And yeah, 100 Million BC is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Like, that is up there with King of the Lost World. It's the Asylum Productions. Hated it. Now, this scene was shot at the now forgotten and abandoned 3D theater, which used to hold a James Bond ride, a SpongeBob ride, Dino Island 2 3D, which I did ride as a kid, was there. And it was raining, as you can tell in the background, but I had to get the blood on my hands, which was just ketchup. I just got some packets of ketchup, and I just dunked it in my hands, and Evan rolled it, and it was really fun. And, yeah, that was a whole nod to, I think, Nostalgia Critic when he was talking about how, like, people bring up Doug Funny, and he's like, but with that said, and he, like, puts it down. Yeah, Japan's got the better animatronics. That Spinosaur show is actually really cool. I actually like how these shots came out. Those are really good quality. I really like how those came out. But yeah, now we're going into the other side of the world, which I've never been to Universal Japan, never been to Universal Singapore. I do know about the new Jurassic World ride they have there, which is apparently really phenomenal, but those animatronics in Japan, they keep them up to date. Like, I want to go to Japan at some point just to see the Jaws ride, at least. That would be my goal. If I go to Japan, and I go to Universal Studios Japan, I'm going to check out the Jaws ride. Like, that's going to be where I probably review it. And a lot of this stuff in Japan would later transfer over to Hollywood and Florida, which I think is really cool. I do like those statues of the T-Rex and Spinosaur, too. I feel like that's what inspired Jurassic World. But I like how it's, like, next to Waterworld is sort of this Lost World area, which is kind of cool. I actually want to try that one. That ride actually seems like a cool concept. It's like the Popeye ride with dinosaurs. And yeah, they have that ride at Wonderland as well, which is actually one of my favorites at Wonderland, where you can just literally, like, go on a river rapids and get soaked. But, oh, it's funny, because people say, oh, if I get hot, I could go on the Jurassic Park ride in Florida. No, I'd rather just go on Popeye. You get more soaked on that and more cooled down. And yeah, this was also not planned, knowing that the ride was going to close. So, when we were shooting, I got word, and I said, okay, let's just film something quickly and bring up the fact that this stuff is going to close soon. I didn't know this, and it was right on the cusp of writing these episodes. So it was, like, kind of perfect timing at the time. And I heard the World ride has gotten better. Like, this is like, I had these leaked photos from when they were reconstructing it, which was cool. They were able to test it out. But in terms of just, like, the storyline, this was all not planned originally. We were just going to cover the movies, but since we were getting really heavily into sort of that channel awesome reviewer versus lore, I figured, oh, I'll make a storyline out of the Legacy reviews. What's funny is the original Legacy reviews were all unscripted. There was no scripts when I was reviewing them, whereas this time we had more time to work on them, so I actually did take time to do a screenplay and write the reviews down, write my analysis, and then write a story around it. So we kept that tradition since, and as we go into the third wave, that's what's going to be happening down the line. Now, I have already done a commentary on Fallen Kingdom, my review of that, so if you want to see more insight, you can check it out there. I did that commentary a couple of years ago, but you can check it out there. But the way it ends, the way this... I love these shots, by the way. I wish there was like a whole B-roll version, like a movie version of the ride, all spliced together. I've thought about, ever since Confrontation, the tribute, I thought about doing a Jaws tribute in Jurassic Park. I think that would be kind of fun. I love how this shot came out, this last-minute shot. I timed it perfectly. I walked out right when the log came in. It came down. Now, that bridge, everybody gets soaked. So we timed it perfectly. Now, this airport was at a little plane airport close by where I used to live. I had my dad contact an airfield to say, hey, can we film your thing? I originally wanted to get a plane similar to the one in the third Jurassic Park, but we had these little sky planes which are more similar than what you see in Howard the Frickin' Duck. But also, it looked good. It looked like something out of Jurassic Park, and then we would use it later for the other part of the airfield. Obviously, these planes do not match, and that was my mistake editing this. This is clearly stock footage that I was able to find, because I had to find a plane that kind of matched, or at least point out what I was using. I tried to do more, like, referencing the plane stuff. So yeah, we basically, the whole ending here is very much based on Jurassic Park 3, where the plane does go down. And it actually, the thing with the Pteranodon taking it down was actually, when I was a kid, one of the Mandela effects I used to have was in the trailer. When the plane crashed, a Pteranodon flew into the plane. Like, that's how I always thought the ending went down. And it was just a false memory, so watching Jurassic Park 3, it was the Spinosaurus. So a lot of this is based on the trailer. Like, memories from childhood from the trailer. So I remember when I was a kid, I was like, oh my god, Pterosaur took it down. But it's funny how Dominion finally did that. Now, we cut to the plane, to the inside of an abandoned car, which is in the forest where I used to live. There's some old rusted cars that have been there for decades, and a lot of people have scrapped them out. But we used it as sort of the crashed plane. We figured that would be the best place to use it for. And then this cliffhanger ending, this final gates was provided by a friend of mine, Mason, who composited the shot for me. But the way it ends, I'm glad I got reception on Isla Sorna. But a lot of this was just shooting this ending plus all the stuff for the following review on the same day. So I planned all this ahead of time. And yeah, this episode was just overall really fun to put together, and it continues with Fallen Kingdom. And I hope you guys enjoyed me blabbering on about, like, all the different facts and somewhat behind the scenes of us shooting this episode. I might do more commentaries down the road because I feel like it's a good way to kind of get some more content out for you guys. But let me know your thoughts on this review in particular in the comments below. Go check out the previous Legacy reviews. We're going to come back with a third wave, and I'll probably do more commentaries down the line. So until the next video, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. This is BigJackFilms signing off, and have a happy day.